Good afternoon, my dear student. I hope you liked the video that of exception handling that I posted last day. So today I start from exactly where I ended last day. Okay, of my last lecture video. So first let me share the screen. Fine. So these are the things that we already have discussed last day, that what are the various kinds of exceptions and what are the 5 keywords. Example of a compile time exception like IO exception or interrupted exception, example of a runtime exception. And also we have seen what happens when runtime exception occurs or not. So we have seen that by example of divide by 0. So these are the things that we like to see today. Okay. So give an example of multiple try catch blocks. Okay, so if there are more than one try block, can there be multiple catch blocks? That is the question. Okay, so the answer is yes, but there is definitely some rule for multiple try catch block. Now what is the rule? Let us see. Suppose there are 3 Java classes, class A, class B and class C, such that A is the superclass, B is the child class of A, and C is the child class of B. So A is the parent class, B is the child class, and C is like grandchild class. So when we write some try block and some code here like br.readline or divide by 0 where exception may arise, then we can give multiple catch block, but the rule is that the sub exception should come first. You see, catch C, then OB. Then next catch B, then OB. Why? Because B is the parent class of C. Then next catch A, OB. Why? Because A is the parent class of B and C. If you reverse the order, I mean, if you write it like this, then you will get a compilation error. Why? Because B is the subclass which cannot come later on in a catch block in comparison to A, right? So you will get an exception. So from here, we should learn how to use the Java API docs. So write down Java API docs. This thing opens. Okay. So there are many packages. So we'll come to the java.lang package here. We go to the java.lang package and suppose we open interrupted exception class. Okay. So Control F, interrupted exception class here. So this is the interrupted exception class. What is the parent class of interrupted exception class? Throwable. Sorry, exception class. What is the parent class of exception class? Throwable. So if there is a multiple catch block, who will come first? According to this rule, who will come first? Yes, the child class will come first and then the parent class. So what we can see that catch, interrupted exception, then exception, then throwable, like this. I hope you have understood. So this is an example. Interrupted exception, its parent class is exception class, its parent class is throwable class. So when we write try suppose thread.sleep, if we write here thread.sleep, then a compile time exception is associated with this, that is interrupted exception. So we'll write here interrupted exception, this one. We will write this one, and then the exception will come. If we want to write it, then this will come. Okay, and then finally the throwable will come. Finally throwable will come. Okay, so this is how we need to write. If we do not maintain this hierarchy, then compilation exception will arise. So let us learn this concept using a program very quickly. Go to new and then I will create a class. We already have shown you example. So this is the third example. Okay, so suppose I want to write here thread.sleep and with some 500 millisecond or half second of sleep. Why this compilation error? Because sleep method is associated with, if you go to the thread class, for example, if we want to find out the thread class, if we want to find out the thread class, okay. So here, if you go to the thread class, you see the thread class comes, okay. And what are the methods here? There is a method called sleep method. So let us find out that sleep method, thread.sleep, yes, this one, thread.sleep method. I click on sleep method, you see public static void sleep, blah, 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 whatever it is, throws interrupted exception. So this is a compile time or checked exception, which is already declared in the Java API docs. So I have to write a try catch block, okay, or I must provide a throws keyword. So I use a try catch block, so interrupted exception, okay, interrupted exception. And then if I want to add one more, then I have to give some parent class of interrupted exception, for example, exception, okay. And you see there is no error right now. If I want, what is the parent class of exception? What is the parent class of exception? Throwable. So if I want, I can use here throwable. You see, there is absolutely no problem. Now in catch, I want to use exception. I see this error comes. Why this error comes? Because this hierarchy is wrong. Interrupted exception, then throwable, it is fine, absolutely fine, but exception cannot come here. Why? Because exception is not a parent class of throwable, rather it is a child class of throwable. So if I have to give it, then I have to give it into a proper position, that is here. See, no error comes. Okay, so this is the golden rule for multiple catch block. For a particular exception, there may be more than one catch block, but the rule is that the subclass exceptions should come first and then the parent class exception. If we write br.readline here, then obviously first IO exception will come, then exception will come, then throwable will come. Okay. If it is in the other order, then it will not compile. Okay. So give an example of a finally block. What is the use of the finally block? So we'll see this thing right now. Okay. So I request you to read this line. Okay. Finally block always execute whether an exception is caught or it is not caught. Okay. So we know that if there is any exception, for example, runtime exception, arithmetic exception, the example that we have seen last day, if there is any arithmetic exception and if there is no matching catch block, suppose divide by 0, there is no matching catch block is given, immediately the program will stop and the control will go to the default exception handler. But if there is any finally block, then before the program stops and before the control returns to the default exception handler, what will happen? The code which is written inside the finally block will get executed. Okay, so let us give me an example. I think the idea will be clear. So new, it is fourth, F-O-U-R-T-H, fourth. So this is an example of a finally block. Okay, so let us try to understand this. Let a equal to 20. I will divide it by 0 and intentionally I will create an arithmetic exception. Okay. So system.out.println a by b. Okay, and we write this code in try block, okay, and we give it a catch block, okay, and suppose instead of catch I give finally block, okay. So and I print here inside finally block, okay, and then I write program goes on, okay. So just like to format it, okay. So this is the program. So a equal to 20 and b equal to 10, so a by 10 there will be no exception, okay. So the finally block will execute, whether there is any exception or not, the finally block will execute, okay. So and then the program will go on, okay. So and in this case there is no arithmetic exception, so execute this thing and see what happens. The result is 2, then the control is goes to inside finally block, and then the program goes on, right? So this part is very easy, but what will happen if I make this 0? If I make this 0, then 20 by 0, and immediately an exception will arise. And what is the name of that exception? Arithmetic exception will arise, okay. So this arithmetic exception will arise. So intentionally I do this and I execute the program, okay, and let us see what happens. You see what happens. This is 20 by 0, so immediately an arithmetic exception arises. So it is looking for the matching catch block, and the matching catch block is not present. So the control will go back to the default exception handler, because nobody is there, no matching catch block is there to deal this arithmetic exception. And what will happen before the control goes back to arithmetic exception? Whatever I write inside the finally block, that must be executed. So whether there is any exception or not, in this case there is an exception. The previous case that I have shown you, for example, if you make this 0, there will be no exception. In both cases, at least the finally block will execute. Whatever you write inside the finally block is execute. Now you can ask me, sir, what is the practical purpose of this? The purpose is very simple. Suppose you have written a Java program where you have opened a connection, you have opened a socket connection, or you opened a file, or you opened a database that needs to be closed properly. Otherwise the whole program may get crashed, okay. This is like a criminal who got a death sentence and judge asked him, what is your last wish? So this is like the last wish of the program. Before the program stops, before the control goes to the exception handler, this is the last wish or last thing that must execute. And normally what we do is safely close all the connections here in the finally block. Exactly what I have written here. Closing connection, closing file, closing database, closing any stream or socket, etc. That is the purpose of finally block, so that the code doesn't get crashed, okay. And now what will happen if there is a matching catch block? Remember, there are two concepts, okay. We can write try catch finally, okay, or we can write try. Okay. In both case, the finally block will get executed. Okay. So let us give a matching catch block here. So arithmetic exception E. Okay. Arithmetic exception E, and inside we give a code like arithmetic exception caught. we like to give a message here that arithmetic exception found. In this case, what will happen? In this case, there will be an arithmetic exception because divide by 0, and immediately the control will be passed to here. Okay, and as because it goes to the matching catch block, the normal execution of the program will go on. Remember, if there is no matching catch block and if an exception occurs, the program will stop immediately and it will go to the default exception handler. But before the return, it will execute the finally block. But if there is a matching catch block, then the control will go to the matching catch block and finally block will get executed and the normal execution will go on. Why? Because there is somebody who has deal this exception. This is like doing a crime and you go to a jail for a particular period. Okay, and after that you can deal your normal life, you can deal your normal social life, absolutely no problem. But if there is no matching catch block, like you have done a crime but you have not gone to the jail, you have simply escaped yourself, so police is trying to find out. Okay, so the normal execution cannot go on. That is why Java is called a very robust program. So in this case, what will happen? This divide by 0, then the control will come here, this message will be printed, and then inside finally block, and as because the exception is caught by this catch block, so normal execution will go on, the remaining program will go on. Okay, so let us execute this thing and you see what is happened. Arithmetic exception is found. That is what we have done here. And then the finally block message that we can see here inside the finally block, and then normal program execution will go on. Okay. And now once again, I would like to show you that what will happen if this code is not present. So now what is present? Try and finally, there will be an exception. Nobody is there to catch this exception. So it will return to the Java default exception handler. So normally this line inside finally will print, but unfortunately the program goes on, this line will not come because it will return back to the default exception handler. But before that, obviously this line will get executed. Please watch. Okay, so an exception arise and then the statement inside the finally block get executed, and then it simply goes back to the Java default exception handler who gives you this message. So program goes on, and whatever you write after this line, whatever you write, this line will not get executed. So I hope the concept is clear of finally block, what is the purpose and what is the mechanism. Okay, so I think these are the two important points that I wanted to share today. So in the next video, I will show you what is the use of throws keyword and how try, catch, throws, etc. differ for compile time and runtime exception. So I will require another 1 or 2 video. With this, I will be able to complete the discussion on exception handling. Okay. So students, I hope you have understood the concept of finally block and how multiple catch block can be present. So please watch this video. I will come back with more videos very soon where I will be discussing the next concepts. Thank you.